Okay, I think we'll start now. I'm sure more people will be joining and I can just let them in as they come in the room. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is an international call. We're going to be covering another great training topic today, something that's very close to my heart. And I think unless you can master this this part of building any business, you will struggle. So it is a very important part of what we do, and Ray is going to be covering that in great detail. So really, I don't have too much to say today. I'm going to have a lazy one. I'm just going to let Ray do most of the heavy lifting. So I'm going to introduce you to Ray now, and he can then go through the training with you. Just a bit of background on Ray for those of you that don't know him. He's a very successful individual, both in network marketing and also traditional business. He runs a very, very successful software company, but his passion is network marketing. In fact, he told me the other day he'd love to sell his business so he could focus full-time on CashFX. For those of you that have been in the business a while, you'll know that it can be very addictive, this business, the way it works, the way it helps other people, and the way you can create a very significant income very quickly. So he absolutely loves CashFX. He's been in network marketing for 37 years. He's been the #1 income earner with 3 businesses over that period. So very, very experienced. And when he joined CashFX, he started off from scratch. He didn't bring his team over. He's actually a #1 income earner with another business. He's completely left that as is, has not approached anyone in that business, and has literally started from scratch all over again, which is, again, when you see the results he's achieving with the business, shows the capability that's here. So he's literally just from scratch. He's been approaching people using the PowerBuild system, out in the cold market, that kind of thing. Just activity. Any of you that are in his team, you'll know that he's like a whirlwind. He's on it, which is, is something I say regularly. If you want to be successful, really successful in this business, you've got to treat it like a real business, like you would be setting up a major business, and be that focused, laser focused, and just on it all the time. So, from a standing start, he is literally, hopefully, days away from going director in just 6 months. So he is really leading the way for his team. So this, as I said, this training is something that is very close to my heart. If you can master this, then it will really, really help you build a significant business and income with CashFX. So without further ado, I'll pass you over to Ray.
Thanks very much, Richard, for that very auspicious introduction. I really appreciate it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. As Richard said, this is an international call, and we've got people from all over the world here. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We always like to try and bring you some different content, some content that has some value to you. And today, what I'm going to cover is a mindset thing. I've got this series in mind called Mindset Matters. And one of the first things I want to cover today is about taking action, because taking action is part of a successful mindset. And where it starts today is something that I hear quite often in the team and in other people's teams and in the business generally, and generally in network marketing. There are always these people that say, well, I've decided to join, but I'm going to wait to see if it really works. And whenever I hear that sentence, I'm always dumbfounded as to why people say that thing, and even more dumbfounded as to why they have that mentality of waiting to see if something works. So it never ceases to surprise me that people say this. And it boils down to a simple fact that in reality, there are 3 types of people in the world. And the first of those types is that there are those people who make things happen. And these are the business leaders of the world, the sportsmen and women, the successful business people in the world. These are all the people that make things happen. these are the people, you know, the successful pop stars, the successful actors and actresses. They all did something to get where they were. They made things happen in their life. So that's the first type of person, okay? The go-getters, the doers, the action takers. And then there are a second class of people who watch things happen. They sit on the sidelines and they wait and watch to see what other people do. I kind of, without being disrespectful, I kind of think these people are sheep. They'll see what all the other sheep do, and they'll go and do what those sheep do. They won't ever put themselves out there. They won't ever put themselves on risk, if you know what I mean, because they fear danger. They fear the unknown. So they'll sit back and watch to see what happens. And generally, those people who always sit back and watch things happen, they end up generally becoming the third type of person. And the third type of person is the person who gets to the end of their life and they wonder what the hell happened, because they spent all their time watching things happen. They never actually did anything. They never actually took action to change their life or change their fortunes or change their income. Okay. And I know so many people in my life who started out full of good intention, you know, started out, they made a decision to become successful, but they never did anything about it. Okay. And I know lots and lots of older people in my life who are, you know, heading into their 50s and 60s and now wondering how the hell they're going to cope with retirement because they didn't do anything in their life. They watched and waited and saw what happened. And strangely, I've got people in my family like this. Everyone in my family knows what I do and how I do it. They know how I make my money. And yet not one of my family has ever come up to me and said, show me how you do that. They're all standing there watching what I do. And I know that some of those people in my family are going to get to the end of their lives and wonder what the hell happened. Because that's it. That's the three types of people: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what the hell happened. And you need to make a decision as to what one of those groups you want to fall into in life. Because unless you take action, and it's not just in Cash FX, it's in life generally, but particularly in Cash FX, if you don't take action, you'll probably end up being somebody who watches things happen, you know, says, I'm going to wait and see if it works. And then you'll get to the end of, you know, your time and you'll wonder what the hell happened. Or you'll see somebody else be very, very, very successful who joined after you in the business, and you'll wonder what the hell happened. How did they get there? Well, it's because they took action. And I'm going to demonstrate this through a sort of a story. And the story goes like this. There were 3 frogs on a log, okay? And this log was floating in the middle of a pond. And it was an unbelievably hot day that these 3 frogs were sitting there on a log in a pond on a very, very, very hot day. And eventually it got to the point where the heat became unbearable for one of the frogs, okay? The sun was just beating down. And so he decided to jump in the pool and cool off, okay? Because the water was lovely and cool, and obviously he was burning up because frogs are cold-blooded animals. And, you know, he just took it to his day. He said, I decided to jump in, right? So that's what he did, okay? So the question I have for you is this. The question is, after he did that, after he decided to jump in the pool, how many frogs were left sitting on the log? And I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds to think about that before I share the answer with you, okay? So unbelievably hot day. One of them decided to jump in, cool off, you know, cool himself down. Now how many frogs were left sitting on the log? Well, the answer is, you ready? The answer is there were 3 frogs sitting on the log. Now, for those of you that said 3, congratulations. For those of you that said 2, well, unfortunately, you were wrong. Because the reason there were 3 frogs on the log were because if you listen to my words carefully, I said that the frog decided to jump off the log. He didn't actually jump. Okay? And you can make a decision to do anything in life, but unless you actually do something, nothing will change. And so it's the same with the frogs on the log. The frog on the end decided he was going to jump off the log, but never actually did it. So nothing changed. There were still 3 frogs on a log. Okay? And lots of people are like that. They decide they're going to do this, and they decide they're going to do that, and they decide they're going to do this other thing, but they never actually do it. They just sit around waiting for everyone else to do it, waiting to see if it's going to work, waiting to see if anyone makes any money, waiting to see if they get paid. When in fact, the thing that they should be doing is talking to other people about their business and growing their business, because then they'll know it works. If you talk to any leader in this company, they'll tell you, what did they do to get successful? Went and spoke to people. Those people didn't decide to go and talk to people. They didn't decide to share the business. They did it. They took action. And because they took action, CashFX is working for them. And it's a fact, you know, going to this heart of people making a decision. It's a fact that 7 million people in the UK joined a gym in 2019. So 7 million people made a decision to become fit. I bet the gym industry was rubbing its hands together. 7 million people joined a gym in 2019. However, 67% of those new gym members in 2019 never went to the gym once, meaning nearly 5 million people did not act on their decision. They signed up at the gym, they gave their credit card details over, they said they went out and bought the pink spandex to wear, that's just the men, and they never went. So they made a decision to do something, but never acted upon that decision. So did they get fit? Probably not. Probably not. Again, this goes to the heart of the difference between making a decision and actually doing something, you know? So like CashFX, you know, these people join the gym. People who join CashFX, it's like a membership, okay? And there are people in CashFX who are making it succeed and making it work. Why? Because they didn't just take a decision to do something, they actually did that thing. They jumped off the log, so to speak, okay? I mean, for example, do you believe that Usain Bolt simply decided, inverted commas, to be an Olympic and world champion sprinter and become the fastest man on the planet? Do you think he just laid in bed one day and said, I'm going to be that guy. I'm just going to make a decision, but I'm going to lay here in bed. Do you think he did that? Or do you think he went way beyond making a decision and he committed to thousands of hours of training, blood, sweat, tears, and injuries to get where he wanted? Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. He committed. He jumped off the log. He didn't just make a decision. He didn't just go out and buy the fancy green shorts and fancy yellow jersey for Jamaica and the flash trainers. No, he made a decision to do something. He made a decision to take action. And the net result of that is that he's worth about $60 million today. And most of his income doesn't come from running around a track. Most of his income comes from being sponsored by companies like Nike and Boss Suits, sponsorships. So his income doesn't come from him directly. His income comes as a secondary form of income. And it's the same in CFX. If you take action and build a team, your income will come from your team, okay? Because you took action. I can't stress enough, making a decision isn't enough. Because there's a world of difference between deciding to do something and actually taking the actions to do that thing. I've always had a massive admiration for base jumpers. They can stand on top of a cliff, 2,000 feet in the air, and launch themselves into the, I could never do that. It's not the falling off that worries me, it's the hitting the ground. But these guys do it without any fear whatsoever. And remember, there was a first time they had to take that leap of faith. There was a first time they had to say, I'm going to throw my body off this cliff and hope that my wingsuit works and hope that I can control it correctly. They didn't stand on top of the cliff going, if I throw myself off here, my wingsuit might not work correctly. I may not be able to control it. I may not be able to. They didn't do that. They jumped off the cliff just in the same way that the frog should have jumped off the log, but didn't. These guys took action. I know a friend of mine does base jumping. I've got massive admiration for him because I could never do that. I could just, my knees go weak standing on top of a tower. You know, I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling off. That's what I'm afraid of. So there's a massive world of difference between deciding to do something, actually taking the actions to do that thing. What I want to do now is tell you a little story, because this describes most people. This describes why most people join a business like CashFX and then decide to wait to see if it works, inverted commas. And here's how the story goes. I'm going to set the scene. It's a very hot day in Southern America, Alabama. And an insurance salesman, a young insurance salesman, is driving around the countryside and he's lost. He's looking for his next appointment, but he can't find it. And he notices a driveway, and at the end of the driveway, he notices a wooden house. And in front of the wooden house, there's an old man sat in a rocking chair smoking a pipe. And there's an old dog lying on the porch. So the insurance salesman gets out of his car and he trudges up the drive and he says hello to the old man. And as he says hello to the old man, the dog goes, woo. And the insurance man looks at the dog a little strangely, but thinks nothing of it. And he says to the old man, he said, I wonder if you can help me. I'm lost. I'm looking for this address. And he shows him the address. And he said, I wonder if you can point me in the right direction. At which point the dog goes, oh. And the insurance guy looks at the dog again, a little more perplexed, but carries on talking to the old fella who's now giving him the directions to the house that he's seeking. And the directions are quite complex. And as the old man is speaking, about a minute later, the dog goes, ow. And the insurance salesman looks down at the dog, and the old man is still talking. He hasn't flinched an eyelid. And the insurance salesman says, excuse me, he says, I'm very sorry, he says, but this old dog here on the porch, he said, is this your dog? And the old guy goes, yep, that's my dog. And the insurance salesman said to him, well, why does he keep howling like that? And the old guy said to him, because he's sitting on a nail. And the insurance salesman scratches his head. He says, well, why doesn't he get off the nail? And the old guy looks at the insurance salesman straight in the eyes and he says, because it doesn't hurt him enough yet. So my question to you is, are you a dog on a nail? Are you that dog sitting on a nail to the point where your finances don't hurt you enough yet to actually take action and do something and get up and get off the nail? My question to you is, how much does it have to hurt you before you take action? Okay. A lot of people join CashFX and they say to their upline, or they say to me, I'm going to wait to see if it works. And in my mind, as soon as somebody says that to me, I have two phrases. You're a frog on a log and you're a dog on a nail. Okay. You've made a decision, but you've not jumped. You might have put your $300 in, but you still haven't jumped. You still haven't built a team. You haven't gone out and spoken to people. And you're a dog on a nail because you're sitting there howling and bemoaning your situation, but it doesn't hurt you enough for you to actually take the actions required to change your position. Okay. And you'll find a lot of people are like this. And I actually explain this story to a lot of those people. I'm very direct with people, sometimes to the point of annoying them or upsetting them, but I tell it how it is. And I've said to people, you're a dog on an owl. And they go, what's that? And I tell them the story. Or I say, you're a frog on a log. And they go, what the hell is that? And I tell them the story. Okay. And it's always good to be able to illustrate what you're saying with a story, you know, and that's part of the reason that Richard and I do these trainings, so that we give you some tools in your arsenal to be able to talk to people. And if you say to somebody, oh, well, you're a dog, I think you're a dog on a nail. They go, well, what the hell's a dog on a nail? And when you explain what a dog on a nail is to them, you know, they might not agree with you. In fact, they might disagree with you strongly, but then, do you know what? They'll go away and think about it, and it'll get in their heads. And I've had people come back to me 3 or 4 weeks after I've told them the story, and they've gone, do you know what? You were right. I am a dog on a nail. And now I'm going to do something about it because it hurts me enough. Or they'll say, yes, I am a dog on a nail, but it doesn't hurt me enough yet to do anything about it. So whilst I've made the decision to join CashFX, I'm still going to wait. Okay. You can't force people to do stuff. You can only show them a way. So what I would say to you is, don't be a dog on a nail. Okay. If you've joined CashFX and you're waiting to see if it works, what are you waiting for? I mean, really, what are you waiting for? Okay. So don't be a frog on a log. If you've made a decision, act upon the decision. And the decision is, you've joined. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for Santa Claus to come and give you a big bag of money? Are you waiting for Christmas? Are you waiting for the aliens to come so that you don't have to build a CashFX business? What are you waiting for? If you're one of those people that's listening to this call and you've joined CashFX and you're sitting there waiting to see if it works, there's only one way to answer that question. Go and build yourself a business. Then you'll know it works. Okay? Sitting there waiting to see if it works is a fear-based status. It's based in fear. It's fear of the unknown, fear of putting yourself out there, fear of failing. Don't worry about those things. Richard and I, we attempt to fail multiple times a day. We do. We attempt to fail multiple times a day because somewhere in those failures, we have successes. Okay? And we don't fail. We just find ways not to do things. We don't have any fear of it. Other people who are successful in the business, Martin Arama, Justin, John Kinnear, none of them fear failing. We just see it as another way not to do something. We learn something from it. So what are you waiting for? Take action. Okay? And the way to take action is share the opportunity. Start to build your team. The reality is, as soon as you start building a team, things begin to change. Things begin to happen in your CashFX business. And trust me, talk to anyone who's built a team in CashFX. In fact, talk to anyone who's built a team in network marketing. It gets very, very exciting very, very quickly once you start building a team, because your income goes up, your level of activity goes up, the growth goes up, the excitement goes up, the adrenaline goes up. It's a rush. I still get up every morning. I've been in this business 6 months now, and I still get up every morning as excited by CashFX as the day I joined, if not more so, because now I've got a fairly decent sized team. I'm just loving the business, okay? Because I'm not a frog on a log. I'm not a dog on a nail. And I didn't join this business to sit and wait to see if it worked. I joined this business, and within my first 24 hours, I'd introduced people. And really, that's when you want to do it. You want to introduce as many people as fast as you can, because that's the growth. Success loves speed. So what are you waiting for? You've made the decision to join. Now jump off the log. Don't be a dog on a nail. Share the opportunity and build your team. I hope that's been useful to you. I think that's all I have for you today. I hope you gained something from this, and I'd love to hear your success stories, as would Richard. And with that, I'm going to thank you for your time and hand you back to my friend and mentor, Richard. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ray. Your presentations always make me smile. Yeah, I mean, just to sort of follow on that from my own experience as well. It is over the years, I've seen it again and again where people join a business, and one of the comments I get from them is well, look, I know it's working for you guys, but, I have to see it working for me first before I can refer it, obviously. And the answer is absolutely not. That is the worst thing you can do. And in fact, I have to say that every single person that has said that to me, I can't remember a single one of them actually being successful, because this is a monkey see, monkey do business, guys. So if you decide to wait 6 months before you start referring people, then guess what? People will do what you do. So if you introduce Fred after 6 months and he decides to wait 6 months before he introduces anyone, guess what's going to happen to your business? It's going to go absolutely nowhere. And the thing is, you don't need to do that. That's the whole point of the business, is the fact that there are other people. The company's got a track record of 15 months now. You can talk to anyone in the business that is making money. In fact, someone posted, is anyone happy being in CashFX? And the answer, of course, is that they're not. No one's unhappy in CashFX. Why? It's because everyone is making money. It's a proven system now. So you don't need to wait. Waiting is the worst thing you can do. And underlying, I think a lot of people do that is because they're worried about getting out there and actually talking to people, which is where the Power Build system comes in. This is why we have the Power Build system, where you use your phone to contact people, not by calling them up, but just by sending them messages, getting them on the presentations, letting the tools do the work for you. And it is so important that, you follow the system, because the system is what duplicates. How you introduce someone to CashFX is how they will think that you build a business. This is why I'm not a fan of meetings, for example. When I was in my early years in network marketing, I used to have meetings all over the place. I'd be getting on a plane, flying over to Holland, to Ireland, all over the place, doing these meetings. It made no difference to the growth of my business, apart from costing me a lot of money, meaning I was going to have to get up in the middle of the night. And in fact, I would suggest that it actually slowed my business down, because when you introduce someone, for example, through a meeting, that person is now trained. They're trained that that's how you build the business. So they're going to say, well, when's the next meeting? Oh, it's a month down the line. Okay, great. So that person will then invite 3 people to that meeting and wait a whole month. The month goes by, we come up to the meeting, and they go to the meeting. They drive 2 hours to get to this meeting, and the 3 people they invited didn't show up. So they're very disappointed, and then they go from there. When's the next meeting? Oh, it's a month down the line, and so on and so forth. You get the picture. Of course, the business is growing very slowly if you do that. This is why online is better. It's much faster, and you can be getting going straight away. So when you join the business, you can literally start straight away. And you look at leaders in the business, and they're very knowledgeable of the business, this, that, and the other. Let me tell you, when we first started, we did not have a clue. The key thing that I did about CashFX was the due diligence. As you know, I'm very hot on that. Make sure that the business is real, sustainable, and the general broad brushstrokes of how the business works. But the first thing I did was then just go out and then start introducing people. That's the foundation. And questions were asked, questions I couldn't answer. That's where the upline comes in, who can answer those questions for you. I mean, Hazel is a great example of that. When Hazel first joined, never done anything like this before, didn't have a clue. So she was getting asked questions from people. She had no idea what the answers were. She came back to me every single time, said, how do I answer this? And then she could respond. So that's how she learned. She doesn't call me anymore. I literally don't hear from Hazel. She's out there building her own business and stuff, because she's learned going through that process. But again, what she did, she joined the business, and she was out there introducing people, posting stuff, activity. And so again, when it comes down to, the pain of the nail, that's where your why comes in. You have to think about why you're doing this business. How important is it to you to make money? Because if you have a strong why, that will give you the how. I see a lot of people in the business, for example, that came into CashFX really on their last legs financially. That was a very strong why for them. So they've gone out there and worked really hard. Those people now, their lives have changed now. They're no longer in that situation. Hazel's another great example. Of course, she's just recently bought a beautiful flat with the proceeds she's making from CashFX. And that was actually, I remember her telling me when she first joined, that was a big why of hers, a real strong motivator, because she lived quite far away from her children. So she wanted to be able to move closer to her children, and she's done exactly that. So again, that's the key with regard to the pain of the nail. Make sure that you've got good pain, because that then gives you the motivation to get out there and build the business. So hopefully, you've learned a lot from that. If you're someone that is, a dog on a nail or a frog on a log, think about that. Why are you in CashFX? What's your why? Think about that very carefully, and then put together your SMART goals. Remember the SMART goals. If you haven't, don't know about your SMART goals, talk to your upline. There is the training in our library on that as well. Set your goals and then go to work. And again, I see it again and again and again in this business. It's not about how clever you are, how good looking you are. None of those things. It's all irrelevant. It's all down to activity, 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 activity. I see it again and again and again. People from different walks of life, completely different skill sets. It's all about activity. People that do not consider themselves leaders. I often, again, have this conversation with people early on in their business. Oh, Richard, I'm not sure I'm a leader. But they're out there, they're doing what they're doing, and they're continually that activity. And over time, they learn more and more. And what happens is people then start looking at them as someone that they can relate to, because they are building a big business. They start asking them questions, and because they've learned as they've gone along through activity. That's the best way to learn, by the way, not by just sitting there studying a book. It's actually going through the process. When someone asks you a question you can't answer, you go and ask someone else, you get that answer and go back. That's a very strong way of learning. You will remember that next time. So that's the key, guys. Again, we keep coming back to this. It's all about activity. Decide, yes, that you want to build a business, but then put a plan of action, have a strong why, and then really, really go to work. Activity, activity, activity. As I said, if you want to earn a bit of money from CashFX, that's the great feature of the business, of course, is that everyone is going to make really great money with CashFX. So even if you don't do anything, yes, you're going to make a lot of money over time from the product alone. However, if you want to make life-changing money, really life-changing money, then follow the leaders. Just do what they're doing. Just go out there. Get it wrong. It doesn't matter. Let me tell you, I've had a lot of people say no to me. A lot of people that said they were going to join, they didn't join. This is just normal. It's just normal part of the business. You just keep going, because you forget about those people because you're too busy talking to the next person. And as I said, you've got a brilliant system with the PowerBuild system, using your phone to get out there and just sift. It's an activity-based business. That's all it is. As I've always said, you're not going to get everyone. Tesco's, for example, here in the UK, biggest store in the UK, they have millions of people that don't shop at Tesco. And obviously, whilst they would like those people to join, they're not too bothered. They're turning over billions of dollars. So it's the same thing with this. Our job is to sift, looking for the right people. So just get out there and be activity. So hope you found that useful, guys. And goodness, people still joining right now. So they're going to join and we're going to say goodbye. So thanks for listening in, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and take care. Okay, bye.